Hey, welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday and happy into the week. I appreciate you joining me here for this weather forecast today, including a big time pattern change on the horizon that I'm sure a lot of you will be interested in hearing about. But before we get there, we've got some severe weather to fight here first through a lot of the country, and I'll let you know who specifically is in the bullseye for that chance of strong to severe storms this afternoon, and really for at least the next couple of days, maybe longer than that. Now, before we do all that, I will ask if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We are trying to get to 10,000 here by the end of hurricane season. Also, like the video. Yesterday's video did great compared to what we've been doing the past month or two, so I really appreciate all of you hitting the like button, and those of you that subscribed, again, really means a lot to me, and it really helps the channel grow. Now, I do have some exciting news for you here that you'll see kind of, behind me with this picture. Me and my buddy Mitch West from GMWeather, which I'm sure many of you have heard of and have probably checked out his channel, are recording a podcast. Now, I'll tell you ahead of time, we don't really know exactly what we're doing here yet, and this probably won't be something that has a set schedule. It's just something for you folks to listen to, and also a way for us to kind of just talk a little during these slower time periods. And obviously right now we're kind of in between, super big time spring severe weather season and hurricane season. So we thought this would be a great time to go ahead and do this. And we'll, probably record multiple episodes here, within, whatever time period the weather is kind of nice, and we'll give you guys something to listen to. We'll also probably bring on some guests in the future, but either way, just something I'm super excited about. It'll premiere tonight at 6 o'clock on my channel, so again, whenever you subscribe, hit that bell next to the subscribe button, so you'll be notified when this is premiering this evening. So again, very excited about that, and I hope that you will join us for that later on today. All right. With all that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Again, I am still fighting a little bit of some sinuses or a cold or whatever this is. So if, I'm drinking a lot of water in the video, or if I happen to have to mute my mic to sneeze or something or cough, that's the excuse. So again, I apologize about that, but that's part of life, and life goes on. So here we go. All right, so current weather across the country, starting with our satellite imagery. Really, the most active area is kind of where this high pressure is sitting these storms that we've been talking about for the past couple of days. And in fact, you'll see here, we already have a line of some stronger to severe storms working on through portions of Iowa and Illinois this afternoon and morning. And this is only really a precursor to what we're going to expect throughout the next couple of days. This is a very common theme that we're going to see. It's just wave after wave of strong storms from the Midwest through the Northeast. And then again, that pattern change on the end of it going into the middle and end of next week. All right, so that is current satellite imagery. Radar, also quite interesting as well. Really, the only place that we have super active weather currently on radar is, again, where I was just talking about and circling. Everywhere else, we're relatively dry, have a couple downpours and storms moving through portions of northeastern Pennsylvania there, so we'll be watching out for that. Also, some showers and storms along portions of the Gulf Coast, and then some showers back into portions of California. Other than that, though, again, the thing we're really focusing on is this circled area on your map for severe weather chances today and the next coming days as this pattern continues to unfold. And taking a look at that pattern here, taking a look at that radar imagery a little bit more in depth here, you'll notice, again, here we go. We've got this pretty feisty line of storms by the time I'm recording this, moving on through the Chicago metro. So if you're watching in that area, let me know how strong these were, what you got, how much rain. But again, this is a pretty feisty line of storms, and honestly, this is going to continue to push off towards the south and east throughout the day today. So if you're anywhere kind of in this circled area, watch out, because this could continue marching on. It may also try to fall apart. These kind of setups are just notoriously difficult to forecast, and our models, I'll already tell you ahead of time, are not handling it very well. So just know, if you're anywhere in the Midwest today, you have a chance of strong storms. So you've got to have a way to get watches, warnings, and advisories. Also, if you have a radar app on your phone and you know how to read it, keep an eye to it. As again, it's just one of those days that you just kind of have to nowcast it and watch how things go. All right, latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center here. Again, this is a great way to kind of just gauge your severe weather threat today. Maybe not so much the models and maybe more just reading this map. And know anywhere from the Dakotas all the way down to Nebraska, all the way down to Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, you've got a chance of strong to severe storms today, including the threat of a couple isolated tornadoes here in these green areas, including some big population centers. Detroit, Chicago, much of northern Indiana, northwestern Ohio under the gun for that as well, and extreme southern Wisconsin. So cannot rule out an isolated tornado or two this afternoon. So again, we're going to be watching out for that. But again, if you're in that threat area from the Storm Prediction Center, just have a way to get those watches and warnings. All right, tomorrow we're going to do it all again for many of the same areas. The bullseye for severe weather tomorrow, again, kind of the same area as today. Twin Cities, Chicago, southwestern Michigan, Madison, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Des Moines, cities, in and around there are going to see strong storms tomorrow, or at least have the chance to. And anyone in that green box through much of the northern tier of the country also has a shot at strong to severe storms. So watching out for that to start our week. And then going into Tuesday, we're going to do it all again, and this time stretching from Maine all the way back down towards almost the portions of, directions are hard, eastern Colorado there. Again, we'll have to watch out for anywhere in that area to, see some stronger storms. So this is not just a one-day event, this is a multiple-day event, and the reason that we're going to see this is the same reason we're getting that pattern change into later next week. It all has to do with our 500 millibar map here. And you'll notice here we go. We've got a trough showing up here at 500 millibars. That is going to allow some oomph in the atmosphere. It's going to, bring some rising motion with it here on the diverging side. And thus, we're going to see some stronger storms. So, this is going into Monday and Tuesday. You'll notice this trough diving down southward into the country. And again, a pretty impressive trough axis showing up here. And anytime you're on kind of the right-hand side of that trough axis, you're going to have a chance at strong to severe storms. So I'll show you another map that shows that even better here in just a moment. But note, here it comes, diving on through the country. This is into Wednesday, still working on through, and then eventually into the middle and end of the work week. You'll notice a piece of that trough almost kind of gets, cut off, if you will, and stuck in the southern tier of the country, and that is going to help to lead to that pattern change that many of you, I'm sure, are very excited for, including myself, because quite frankly, I would love to see some rain, and I'm tired of the heat index being 110, so, we'll all look forward to that together. All right. So again, I'm going to now show you some model guidance. I want to just go ahead and hit this home right now. Do not take this verbatim. This is not exactly what the radar is going to look like this afternoon. All the models are struggling currently, but I think the NAM right now is doing generally the best job of all of them at current initialization on what's happening. So I'm going to show this one. And again, just know if you're in the Storm Prediction Center area for the day, be prepared for strong storms. That's just the easiest way to do this. Same story for tomorrow and Tuesday as well. With that said, though, let's go ahead and show some model guidance. So getting into this afternoon, again, this is kind of this morning's MCV or strong line of storms that we're seeing. Again, it could last through Indiana and portions of Ohio, bringing strong straight line winds, and an embedded tornado or two is not out of the question. So that is going to be the main threat kind of through the afternoon, but you'll notice even again into this evening, notice how this kind of re-strengthens a little bit as it moves through Indiana and Ohio. So again, could see some strong storms there with very strong straight line winds. Let me know in the comments if you're seeing any of that. But here we go this afternoon and evening. Another strong MCV develops here into the Chicago area, feeding off that afternoon heat. Also an MCV showing up into the Dakotas. So again, just know anywhere in this threat area, and I know I keep saying it, but anywhere in this threat area, these types of storm systems or complexes could form and try to work on, generally speaking, in this direction towards the south and east, kind of following the pattern around that ridge with that ring of fire effect that you hear about pretty often during the summertime. But, overnight tonight, the NAM really excited about this big MCV working on through portions of Indiana and Illinois. Again, straight line winds will be the biggest threat with that. Another one, again, up through the Twin Cities. By the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, multiple complexes of storms, still working on through these areas that we need to watch out for. Now, continuing this into Monday afternoon, more areas of these storms, continuing to work on through the threat area, and that's just going to be the theme throughout Monday afternoon. Again, you'll even notice some storms firing off here near Wisconsin. Strong straight line winds, isolated hail, and a tornado or two will be possible with any of these tomorrow afternoon as well. And again, we'll do it again Monday night into Tuesday, more complexes of storms working on through. And that should be a theme through Tuesday afternoon at least. And then I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, things calm down here through the Midwest. All right, the Northeast, less of a severe weather threat today at least, but still some afternoon pop-up storms. You'll notice here getting into, again, about 4 p.m. Eastern time, the storms firing off the I-95 corridor from kind of Richmond up through D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia. Also, we'll have to watch for some of these storms in the Midwest to try to push east into the Northeast, specifically kind of into the Lake Erie and Ontario areas of Pennsylvania and New York State. Could see some of those stronger storms try to work on in. And that'll be a theme through Sunday afternoon. Again, a couple storms could linger into the overnight and into Monday morning. But then Monday afternoon, we do it all again with, I think, more widespread pop-up storms and thus more widespread severe weather for our Monday. Again, you'll notice anywhere from Boston back into the interior Northeast through the Poconos, the Adirondacks, the Catskills could see some stronger storms during the afternoon hours. Again, straight line wind is going to be the biggest threat, and those could congeal into a stronger MCV here during the evening hours of Monday into Tuesday. Again, we'll see if this happens. The models are struggling, but either way, just know chance for pop-up storms is strong through Monday into Tuesday, and again, just wave after wave of these complexes of storms working on through. So maybe don't focus so much on exact locations and timing. Focus more on just the general idea that the model is pumping out round after round of storms in the Northeast and Midwest through at least the next 3 days. All right, so we've got some water there. Let's see if we can get through the rest of this. Where were we? Yeah, so the Southeast. Sorry. Severe weather here in the Southeast is going to be a lot less of a threat, I think, through the next couple of days, but storms are still possible. And you'll notice that here this afternoon, again, that normal kind of summertime pop-up, popcorn kind of look to radar here, just dots of convection showing up due to that afternoon heat. Again, could obviously see a couple stronger wind gusts, heavy rainfall, and lightning with these, but overall, the severe threat is much. All right, I'm also going to actually, bring this through the next couple of days as well. So that's this afternoon into Monday afternoon showing up right here. Again, just more of the same, pop-up storms. It's going to be hot. Be prepared for that. Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday afternoon as well. Could see some more of that. By the time we get to Tuesday, we'll have to watch some of these storm complexes from the Midwest. Could try to get down south and east and kind of cross through portions of the Southeast. We'll watch that for you. We'll keep you updated. Just know that that is a possibility here later on, starting into that Tuesday time frame. Alrighty, so just to kind of give you a final overview of the severe weather, then we'll talk about this pattern change a little bit more in depth, and then I'll let you go for your Sunday. This is our GFS ensemble members showing the general idea of who is at the greatest risk for severe weather. This is overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Again, pretty confident one of those MCVs will likely form in this region of Minnesota, northern Iowa, and into portions of the Dakotas as well through Monday morning. And then Monday afternoon, another big explosion of severe weather ingredients through Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, Minnesota, and we'll continue that trend even into Tuesday afternoon here, again through portions of the Midwest and the Northeast, and even Wednesday afternoon through the Northeast all the way through the Ohio River Valley. Could see some strong to severe storms before then later on in the week the severe threat really dies down. But still a chance for some stronger storms really through any part of the eastern half of the country. Alright, that gets us to the exciting part of the video, the big old pattern change that I've been talking about for a little bit here and is really showing up, from many different metrics here, including the Climate Prediction Center, who has now released this 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook. And this just shows not how cold or how warm it'll be, but what are the chances it will be above or below average. And chances are getting, pretty high here that we're going to see at least below average temperatures. Whether that's 5 degrees below average or 15 degrees below average, we'll talk about in a minute, but right through the heart of the eastern half of the country. Again, from Charlotte up through Philadelphia, back to Dallas, Denver, Des Moines, the Twin Cities, Detroit. Again, this entire block of the country likely to be below what we should be this time of year for mid to late July standards. So again, relief on the way. Also with that is going to be some rainfall, especially in this circled area on your map here. I think we're really gonna see some big time rain out of this. But anyone kind of in the southern half of the country is going to have increased rain chances with this pattern change through at least the middle, or I guess through the 25th or so of July. We'll say probably even longer than that though. All right, we talked about the setup for this a little bit. I'll show you again. Here we go. We've got that trough diving down into the early and middle part of next week. Part of it gets cut off and kind of trapped here in the southern tier of the country. And with that, again, low pressure forming here, we're just going to have kind of this big general circled area of increased lift and thus increased rain chances. Another great way to show this is with our dew point map, and I think this is doing a terrific job at kind of showing how this pattern change will work exactly. Right now, it is muggy, so anytime you see these kind of brighter colors, these more moist looking colors, with that key at the bottom, that indicates kind of the muggy meter. The higher the dew point temperature, the more muggy it feels, or the more humid, as people like to call it. Although scientifically speaking, that's not really how it works, but again, the more muggy it feels. I like to use the word muggy because it's a little more realistic, I think. But again, very muggy through tomorrow afternoon. Obviously, those very high dew points are going to feed those thunderstorms off into the Midwest and Northeast. And that continues into Tuesday. But here we go into Wednesday morning. Watch what happens. We're getting this big push of drier air out of the north from Canada as that trough swings on through and pushes southward. And by the time we're getting into Thursday afternoon here, excuse me, we've got a pretty stout boundary showing up here on our dew point map. So to the north of this line I have drawn, much nicer, drier weather in store. To the south of it, those high dew points continue, but rain chances really increase, and that's going to be one of the drivers that kind of bring our temperatures down. And this is a pretty similar setup to what we saw in North Carolina, eastern North Carolina specifically, a couple days ago, where we had that flash flooding. It was a very similar scenario, kind of stalled out boundary or front here. And what's going to happen is, again, you got air coming out of the north from Canada, and then you've got air getting pulled out of the south from the Gulf. And wherever these two clash over this kind of band, we're going to see some very heavy rainfall, again, kind of in this area where these air masses clash. And again, I talked about that in yesterday's video. Same idea today. This, again, Thursday afternoon, likely going to see a big influx of rain chances where these two boundaries meet. And that will last even into Friday. You'll notice these dew points still staying lower. So at least 2 days of a stalled out front probably over the east central part of the country, generally near the Ohio River Valley, before I think getting into next weekend, those higher dew points once again kind of try to surge northward, and then everyone gets back in on that muggy conditions, although still cooler because rain chances will still be higher. It'll just be a little more muggy, but still nice to have the temperature at least lower. All right, to show you just what this could look like, generally speaking, on future radar, here we go. This is Tuesday afternoon, and you'll notice those storms firing off where that front moves on through. And here we go into Wednesday. Here's that big old high pressure moving southward, bringing that drier air. And as I mentioned, wherever that kind of front stalls out, rain chances are increasing here through Wednesday afternoon. You'll notice they're picking up here on the precipitation map, and even into Thursday afternoon, those rain chances again picking up right on that boundary. So gonna have to watch out for some flooding threat here. The good news is a lot of us in this area are in drought, so we're gonna need the rain. We're gonna be happy to have it, even if we have to dodge a little bit of flooding. And that continues into Friday afternoon and Saturday, more rounds of storms, and throughout the weekend, that stormy pattern continues. All right, so now taking a look at the temperature forecast for you. This is tomorrow afternoon. Again, still well above average for much of the eastern half of the country. Tuesday afternoon, though, here we go. Here's that change. Look at this block of cooler air. And again, I don't want to say cold. This is cooler, drier air. More importantly, drier air. So it's not going to feel like fall necessarily. It's not going to feel like winter. Definitely not going to feel like winter. But it will be much nicer than what we've seen. And you know what? Even some folks up here into Minnesota, maybe it will feel a tad like fall. But overall speaking, it's just more relief than anything else. And here we go, Wednesday afternoon. Again, it's not hard to find that front. Here we go, stalled out right near the Ohio River Valley. So if you're south of this line and you're thinking, well, I was in the blue on the last map, why, how is that the case? We've still got these high dew points, and it still looks kind of red here. Well, what's going to happen is because of that stalled front, even if you're not on the drier side of it, rain chances are going to increase so much into Thursday and Friday here that we're going to see a big area of lower temperatures due to that rainfall. Look in here. I mean, we've got temperatures near 20 degrees below what they should be this time of year due to that front stalling out and all of that rain occurring. So that's something we'll watch. If anybody gets robbed here, I hate to say it, it's probably going to be here through Florida and the coastal Carolinas, where we're going to struggle to get that temperature, brought back down as that front stalls. But even these models show going into the weekend, as that front really tries to pull southward and that rain pulls south with it, even some relief for North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. But areas, south and east of there, Charleston, Macon, Jacksonville, Miami, Fort Myers, probably still going to be pretty warm to say the least, as that front is pretty far north of you. Now, after that, rain chances continue. So while we lose some of that nicer, drier air, we're still going to have bumped up rain chances, which will bring pockets of cooler than average temperatures with it. Obviously, anywhere it's raining, we will see that general idea. So that will be some good news for sure. All right, so how cool is it going to be, compared to normal? Well, if we take a look at our temperature map, within the next, couple of days, this is for Tuesday afternoon. You'll notice it's still very hot. Obviously, temperatures in the 90s, up near 100. Heat index is higher than that. But notice what's happening up north. Of course, I picked the one color you can't see. Notice what's happening up north. Here comes that drier, cooler air. And we've got temperatures now, getting only up into the higher 70s and lower 80s. And by the time we get into our Friday afternoon, look at these high temperatures. Many of us are going to struggle to hit the 90s east of the Mississippi River. High temperatures, widespread 70s and 80s north of the Ohio River Valley. Widespread 80s throughout the mid-Atlantic and much of the southeast, and then 90s down into Florida, and then into some of those more coastal areas. So again, relief on the way for many of us, and I'm sure a lot of us are excited to hear that. All right, final thing I'll talk about here is the tropics, and there you go. Not much throughout the next 10 days at least. Probably going to stay quiet through the rest of July. We'll see what August brings, and again, we'll probably even talk about that a little bit in this podcast this afternoon, like I said, with Mitch. So again, I'll plug this one more time here at the end of the video. Please join us tonight at 6 o'clock for this. Again, if you haven't already subscribed, do that. Like the video and hit the bell for the latest notifications. With all that said, y'all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you all tonight.